Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, That Carnivore Life. I'm Emily and I'm your host, and today I'm talking about my experience at Kiltz's second annual meetup, where he had a VIP dinner the night before, he had a seminar throughout the day the next day, followed by a group dinner. So let's get straight into it. Why did I go to this particular meetup? Well, that's where my amazing husband comes in. His name's Adam. He is Mr. That Carnivore Life. And he approached me a few weeks beforehand with a surprise for Valentine's Day. And he said, well, the weekend before Valentine's Day, we are headed to Florida and we're gonna go to Dr. Kiltz's meetup. Why is that a big deal? Well, I love Dr. Kiltz. I love all things babies. We are working towards a family. So why not pay attention to what somebody says in this space who has the expertise and who has a history behind him to support his advice, his words, his thoughts, his, everything that he shares. So I follow him and I pay attention and I listen to what he says, because I know one day when we plan to start a family, some of these things will come in handy. And we're at that point where we're starting to put some things into place. So Adam comes to me and tells me that he is taking me on this weekend away to Dr. Kiltz's second annual meetup, and our first meetup as husband and wife. It's actually my second meetup. I went to a meetup with Dr. Lisa Wiedemann in Sacramento one time when she was out that way. And it was wonderful to be around like-minded people. But it is something Adam has never done, and something that we have not done as a married couple, or even as a couple. For those of you who don't know, Adam and I found each other on the Facebook group called The Meeting Place. We met through our mutual connection to carnivore, but bonded over our faith in God. Back to Dr. Kiltz's meetup. That is how we ended up there. My first experience is that we arrived late. We arrived late because we were driving, and on the interstate, we were impacted by not one, but two total closures to the interstate. In the first closure, it happened about 30 minutes after we left our hotel. What should have been a 5-hour drive, and we left 6 hours before the event started, turned into something like an 8-hour drive, I think. In that first incident, somebody had driven off the overpass onto the interstate below, which is the one we were on, therefore closing the whole interstate for many hours. We got rerouted. The reroutes were congested because they're not built for that. So that took us a long time. We were already aware that we were going to be about 45 minutes late. We had emailed the organizer, and, she was very, we're planning on eating at this time. And that was about, close to an hour after they were starting the event. And so I'm like, okay, great, fantastic, that works. I knew that there was some things that we would probably miss in that first hour, a lot of which was probably networking and meeting different people. And you know what? If we lose that, we lose that. We get back on the interstate after some distance after it's closed. We're on the interstate for 15 to 30 minutes and we come across stopped traffic. Adam pulls up the app and it tells him that there is a crash, the interstate is closed, and a medevac helicopter is being called. So we knew full well that we were going nowhere. Adam, as well as a whole lot of other people, were able to get us off the interstate, like we're able to turn around. Praise the Lord. The moment he told me there was a medevac helicopter, I burst into tears, like sobbing tears, because I'm like, this is not going to happen. Like, we have VIP tickets. This entire VIP event is not going to happen. And I was so excited to meet Dr. Kiltz, and I was devastated. But we were able to turn around on the interstate, praise the Lord, like the other side, not the wrong side, the correct side, we're able to turn around. We were able to take a different exit and then go into a different area of Florida and like go a back way into Sarasota, which is where the VIP event was. By the time we get to the VIP event, which started at 4, it was 6:45. So it was going 4 until 7. It must have been 5:45. Anyway, it was late, like well over an hour late. The comforting thing for me when we arrived so late is that there were other people also arriving late. So we weren't the last ones to arrive, and you know, that kind of helped my situation. I walk in, so many people are there. The place is beautiful. There's long communal tables set up. There is foliage running down the tables. There's little dishes of butter, and there are slightly bigger dishes of this stuff that looks like butter. I find out later that it is whipped bone marrow butter. Oh my gosh, that stuff was to die for, by the way. There is also waters that you can get, and on the table there are bottles of sparkling water. Praise the Lord, because I love sparkling water. The other thing that was at our tables were party favors. I have my party favor right here. It says Kiltz Health, Ancestral Nutritional Solutions. On the back is his logo, which also happens to be on this shirt I got in my VIP bundle. And the logo is like a lion's face, and then down the center is like a meat prong thing for when you like cook on a barbecue or whatever. So I thought that was really creative. But this is salt flakes by a company called Meldon. I think it's Maldon. These are glass jars, bamboo lids, wooden spoon, like perfect. I have never tasted salt this good. Okay, like if you're not someone who likes chunky salt, I don't. I don't really salt my food a lot when I'm cooking it. I salt it afterwards with fine salt. If I'm gonna salt when I'm cooking, I also use fine salt because I don't like crunching down on salt. But this is salt flakes. Oh my gosh, the most delicious thing I have ever had salt-wise, like incredible. So Meldon salt flakes, by the way. And then the other thing that was on our tables, on the backs of our chairs, were our VIP swag bags, which was pretty cool. The room was open, the room was spacious. It was in the studio space, so Kiltz's studio was off to the side. That was really fun to see, because obviously it's the backdrop of his recordings. The other side of the room, the entire wall, were glass doors which you could open up, which opened out into his backyard, which had a pool to one side. This is also where all of the meat was being prepared and cooked and would later be served. There was a strip of grass about 2 to 3 yards wide, and you would step straight off of that into the bay. Like, it was a stunning location for the meetup. It had that like family feel, like it was personal, which I really, really loved. So that's kind of the setting that I walked into. Dr. Kiltz was there. He was one of the first people I saw. I didn't get a chance to talk to him until a few minutes later. He was so encouraging. He was present. I watched him with everyone he spoke with, not just myself. He was present. He made time for you. I don't know how he did this, but he would speak to me or speak to Adam and I. He would go talk to other people. He would come back to us and he would remember our conversation, remember some of the things that we said, and he would talk further about whatever advice he was giving us or whatever the conversation was. That spoke volumes to me. That spoke that he genuinely cares about what he's doing, and that the people that are on this journey, he really wants the best for them. And he's willing to be a part of that journey in their lives to better themselves and improve themselves and have the best for themselves. And that spoke volumes to me. I really respect him for that. I really do think that he was genuine in his interactions, not just with myself and my husband, but with the people around us as well. Dinner-wise, lots of different meat. There was ribeye, there was picanha. It was all like beef-based. I don't think there was lamb. There wasn't chicken, I don't think. That was super delicious. I ate the ribeye and I ate it with the bone marrow butter, whipped bone marrow butter, and this incredible salt from Meldon. I actually emailed the organizer and I said like, where is this salt? What is it? Please tell me how to find it. After we ate dinner, we got treated to Kiltz's ice cream. So if you don't know what Kiltz's carnivore ice cream is, you just have to Google Dr. Kiltz's carnivore ice cream and then go to the webpage that appears. I will try and post it in the box below the description of this episode, but oh my gosh, delicious. So I had a small amount of that. And just the consideration that Dr. Kiltz went to and his team went to, because they knew that there would be some people there who are, say, dirty carnivore or who aren't even carnivore, or maybe they're keto. You know, maybe it was someone's partner and that person is carnivore, but the partner is not. And so with the ice cream, there was honey that you could drizzle on top. And there were also some fresh berries that you could drizzle on top as well. And so my husband doesn't have to be as strict as I am on carnivore. And so he had, with his ice cream, he had like just a sprinkle of berries, not many, just a sprinkle. And he really enjoyed that as well. So that was just so fun. Then we got to hear Dr. Kiltz speak to us just briefly about what this event means to him and why he is putting it on. He shared a little bit of his journey as well. I'm not going to share that here. That's not the purpose of this video. And it's also not mine to share. It's his to share. And then once he shared, he invited a few of the speakers that would be at the next day's event to share a little something. And then he went around the room and he asked if anyone would like to share. I contemplated it. I was feeling nervous, so I decided to sit back a little bit and just observe and take it all in. Had we continued to do that process a little longer, I would have raised my hand, but we stopped, and so I didn't get the opportunity to do that. But I got to hear from some really interesting people about why they were at this event, how they found carnivore, and that was really encouraging. What I noticed over the 2 days at the VIP dinner and then at the event the next day is that these people around us, you wouldn't be able to pick them out in public. You would not know that they were carnivore. They could have been anybody. And I kind of think that I have this impression that carnivores are just this unique group of people that you can spot a mile away. I don't even know why I thought that, but it's so not true. Anybody you see when you leave your house could be carnivore and you have no idea. And that was really encouraging. Really, really, really encouraging. We ended the night, we didn't hang around. It had been a really, really long day. This should not have been the way that it was for that initial part until we got to Kiltz's dinner. We drove to Tampa, which is where the meetup was going to be the next day. I would call it a seminar, maybe a conference, but definitely a seminar. And it ran from mid-morning to mid-afternoon. This seminar involved different speakers talking about different topics related to carnivore. We heard from Dr. Philip of Vadia, so he spoke a lot to do with the heart. We heard from a lot of people. I won't necessarily remember them all. And we also heard from 2 crazy ketos about how they found keto and carnivore, and how they have moved and they now own a farm, and how they grow their own produce and they're able to sell some as well. And when I say produce, I don't mean broccoli and carrots and peas and corn. I mean like cows and chickens and pigs and I think turkeys, which is pretty cool. That was really, really fun. They brought Valentine's Day into it, and I went and spoke to Rachel afterwards, Rachel from 2 Crazy Ketos. And I'm like, well, the reason that I'm at this event today is because my husband surprised me with this as my Valentine's gift. And so that was super fun. Also, you see my Highland cow in the background here? That is another Valentine's Day gift from my husband. He nailed Valentine's Day like he did last year, he did this year. This is my second Valentine's Day, and both of them have been with my husband, and that's amazing. So he made this. This is all like, he's got an industrial laser, and he made this for me out of wood, and he stained it. Like, he's got a whole business. Shout out to Cahaba River Creations, because This is his work and it's incredible and I love it. And he was super intentional. So have a great husband. We also heard from Jenny Mittich, her story into finding carnivore, how her husband introduced her to it and she was like, nah, but she ended up being the one who started carnivore first. She has just released a book about carnivore. This is Jenny's book. It's called Complete Carnivore. So Jenny Mittich, M-I-T-I-C-H, she has a 2-week meal plan and over 80 recipes. It's to help you ease your transition and keep your meals fresh and exciting. Like, it is a whole thing. So in the beginning, she does a little bit of an introduction into carnivore. She shares some testimonials, which are so encouraging. Chapter 2 is an in-depth guide, knowing just different things about carnivore, and then just her recipes as well. So this one here, I've just flicked to this one, slow cooker pot roast. Obviously it's the meat, liquid smoke. You got to be careful with that one. I found a liquid smoke that doesn't contain sugar. A lot of them do. Worcestershire sauce. So obviously, if you're being super clean carnivore, you wouldn't have that. Again, if you're not being super clean carnivore and you're being dirty carnivore, you need to watch the ingredients. Salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder. Some people have those, some people don't. I don't. I would just simply omit them. And 1 tablespoon of animal fat. So what's really great about these recipes is the way that these recipes come out is if you can't have all of those ingredients, but the meat and the salt, or even only the meat, like you can still follow the recipe without adding the ingredients. And I really, really love that. And then like chicken soup and spicy chicken sandwiches. And these are all carnivore and keto friendly. She's got a section on holiday meals. Like it's just fantastic. She even has some seasonings in the back. So that's called Complete Carnivore. It's by Jenny Mittich and it's available on, I believe, Amazon. I was able to purchase it in person at the event, which I really loved. And she signed it to Adam and I. And she says health begins on your plate. And I truly agree with her in that. We heard from a number of different doctors. We heard from some people who aren't doctors, like Jenny and the 2 Crazy Ketos. What I recognized coming to this event is that both locations that I have lived at as a carnivore in the US, so Northern California and also Central Alabama, in both locations, we seem to be quite outside of the carnivore people. So the influencers that organize meetups, the locations that these meetups happen, we seem to be quite distanced from. So this was the first one that was relatively close that we've been able to go to. Obviously, I was able to go to the one in Sacramento, but that hasn't happened since. It was simply because Dr. Lisa Wiedemann was attending an interview there, and so she arranged a meetup. That worked really well and super glad I could go to that. But the point of sharing this is the locations I have been in kind of have a space of isolation from the carnivore community other than online. And online is such an important resource. We saw that over a period of forced isolation a few years ago and how important social media and online connection technology is, as well as it can be harmful, of course. And what I noticed about this meetup is that it was a great way to connect with community, to connect with like-minded people, to connect with normal people who are a little bit weird. Like, because let's face it, when you eat this way, it's the normal way of eating, but it's not the common way of eating. It's not the accepted way of eating by a lot of people. And so you're kind of branded as not normal, but you kind of are normal. So, I loved hearing the experiences of people, not just the speakers, but as Adam and I met people in the room, they were carnivore, and we were able to hear like how they came about it, what it's done to benefit their lives. I loved hearing the different knowledge with the different experiences. And what was really cool is that although everyone's experiences were a little different, it was also the same. Like a lot of the same. Carnivores benefited me in this way. Like everything was about a benefit, which was really great. I guess, maybe if somebody's not had a good experience with carnivore, they probably wouldn't be at that event. But the interesting thing to me is that the message around carnivore and the benefit of carnivore to health is consistent, very, very consistent. And I really loved hearing that. I loved hearing the anecdotal stories, because something becomes, well, quote unquote gospel, once enough anecdotal has come to light. So the more anecdotal we hear, the sooner that will occur. I also loved that this was a space where I could just be me. I didn't have to worry about a stigma regarding the way that I eat or not eating something at an event. I didn't have to worry about, am I going to be able to eat if I get hungry? It was just easy. It was simple. I didn't even have to think about food because I knew that there would be something there. I was able to relax and just be. I was able to be present. And I really, really loved that about going to a meetup. I left encouraged. I sat there feeling encouraged. During the event, about halfway through, we had a short break. It was about 15 minutes. It was enough to go to the bathroom and get a drink. There was no need to stop for morning tea, afternoon tea, or lunch. Oh, and just to comment on that, we had stayed in a hotel that night, and the hotel included a breakfast buffet the next day. So we had eggs, we had bacon, we had butter, we had salt. I can't remember if there was anything else that we had there. There were lots of non-carnivore options. We did not have those. I didn't even have a tea. I couldn't believe it. Well, I can believe it actually. And so we were fueled and ready to go. I imagine there were some people who didn't have breakfast and fasted the whole day. And I imagine that there were other people who did have breakfast. And there were some people there with some carnivore snacks, like carnivore crisps, for example. Once the event finished, we all went to an all-you-can-eat Brazilian barbecue restaurant. That was so fun. I don't know how many of us were there, but there were at least 5 long tables of us. There was probably about 16 people at each table at least. There must have been close to 100 or over 100 of us at this restaurant. Now, I will say this, it did make for slow service. It did mean that they came round to one table, got through 1.5 to 2 tables, and then they had none of that meat left. So we're like, hey, can you bring us picanha and shrimp that we'd seen come around the room 3 times? 3 times later, so 6 times it took them to be able to get to us so that we could have some picanha and some shrimp. But yeah, that was pretty amazing, just to sit and hear different people's experiences and to sit at a restaurant with people who don't think we're being weird. Why aren't you eating that? Why are you just eating meat? You're gonna kill yourself. There was none of that, which was amazing. That was the end. That was the end of the meetup. It was just so encouraging. If you are somebody who's considering going to a meetup with any influencer in the carnivore community, whether it's Dr. Kiltz or not, my encouragement is to go. Go at least once. Even if you have to fly there and stay in a hotel for a couple of nights, make it a priority to go at least once. A meat stock is coming up in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I'd encourage you to go. That would be really, really worth going to. So many people are going to be there. So much good information is going to be shared. If you're thinking of going to a meetup, just go. It's worth it. Regarding my experience at Kiltz's second annual meetup, it was amazing. I'm so grateful to my husband that he surprised me with this, that he thought that this would be a really great way to spend Valentine's. And it was the weekend before, but that was just because that's when it was organized, but it was for Valentine's Day. And his wisdom in this, to organize this for us, to have such a fantastic experience, to get to meet Dr. Kiltz, to get to meet like-minded people, definitely a highlight of 2026 so far. Well, thank you all for joining in. I'll post the link to Jenny Meatup's book. I will post the link to Meldon's Salt, and I will post the link to Dr. Kiltz's website and to his ice cream. And I'll post that in the description box below. Thank you for joining. And remember, please be kind, like and subscribe, and head on over to Instagram and follow me there. thatcarnivoralife.gram, and I'll also post the link to Cahaba River Creations, and please check out my husband's website. He does amazing work. Bye.